Hello, and welcome to today's episode of The Daily Blend. I am your host, AC, and we are here today with Lauren Williams, who is the co-chair for One Read, Daniel Boone Regional Library. How are you, Lauren?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And tell us a little bit about our One Read book for this year.
Sure. So together we are all reading Migrations by Charlotte McConaghy. Mm-hmm. And this is a book that it's a novel, and it is set in the not too distant future. It doesn't really say exactly what it is, but climate change is really happening in full force, and species are going extinct, and its nature is kind of on the edge of collapse. And it follows a woman named Franny Stone, who leaves everything behind except for her research equipment and is in Greenland trying to follow what's going to be the last migration of Arctic terns, this flock of birds. And she talks her way onto a fishing vessel by telling the captain, if we follow these birds, we'll find fish, because, of course, the oceans are overfished.
Yes.
And so that way of life is dying as well. And as she gets on the ship and makes her way across the ocean, we get these flashbacks of her life, her disappearance of her mother, a passionate love affair, a mysterious accident. And so it has this kind of pacing of a thriller as she makes her way to follow these birds. So there's a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss, really important topics for our community to come together and talk about.
Oh, I'll say, like when you were listing off some of the things, I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds familiar. Oh, yeah, that sounds familiar. So I said not too distant future.
Yes, yes.
Not too distant future. What goes into, tell us the concept of the One Read.
Sure.
Like, what goes into choosing the book?
Sure. So One Read, it's the community-wide reading program that's sponsored, coordinated by the Daniel Boone Regional Library, and that's the library system for Boone and Callaway counties. But it's supported and coordinated by a whole bunch of task force organizations, including KBIA, all the college campuses, Office of Cultural Affairs, all these organizations. And so we, the community nominates books in the fall.
Okay.
So we say, what one book should we all read together?
Okay.
They nominate titles. We have a reading panel that helps narrow those titles down to two choices, and then we bring those choices back to the public. And so the public, they're the nominators, and they get to pick between those final two. So this was what the community voted on, and so it really makes it a community-wide read in the fullest sense of the word. And then these task force organizations help us plan programs and events, films, art exhibits, all these things around the topics in the book, and that will all happen in September.
That is very interesting. I mean, generally, how many submissions generally do you get? Do you guys read them all?
We don't read them all.
Okay.
Because we got over 320
I was
submissions.
Gonna say.
Yes. So we do have a lovely staff member who puts together a list of, here's all the nominations, here's what's, it needs to be available in paperback and lots of other formats to make it accessible.
Okay.
So audiobook, ebook, paperback, because we provide over 300 copies for people to check out.
Yeah.
And our friends at the library help donate those funds to pay for them.
Okay.
And then it needs to be not too long, accessible to a wide variety of people. So there's some criteria. But then we meet on a Saturday, this reading panel, and reads book reviews. We talk about the ones we've read, and then we vote to narrow it down to 10. So, and then we read those final 10.
So you read the final 10, and then you get it down to 2.
Yes.
That is so interesting.
It's a fun process.
I would imagine so. Yeah. Like, that seems like a good panel to be on.
It is. It makes you read. For me in particular, it makes me read genres and books I may not pick up otherwise. Yes. And the One Read program itself is like that. We always tell people, this is a cli-fi, climate fiction. Maybe you might think that's not my thing.
Yeah.
But people will pick it up anyway and come to discussions and films and things and come out, if not liking it more usually, but appreciating it more. So even if it's not necessarily, if you're a nonfiction reader, pick it up, try it out, come to some of the events.
I like that because I love reading, but we do tend to stick with the genre that we know, right? When you go in the bookstore or the library, you head straight for that genre.
Right.
And so sometimes it does take something like this to kind of shake you out of that and get you to read something different.
It does. And we love this idea of community too. So people, at a restaurant or a dentist office or in the line at the grocery store, and they overhear someone talking about the One Read book. And so they talk to one another. We've heard stories about that.
Yeah.
And then they've also let us come at some really important topics kind of sideways. We've done To Kill a Mockingbird. We did Killers of the Flower Moon. We did a biography or memoir called Bettyville. And so we've talked about LGBTQ issues and racism, and we'll talk about climate change. So it is a way for us as a community to have some kind of difficult conversations using a book as the center.
Which is really, I find that to be a really great way. A book is a really great way to tackle some situational things
Yep.
or some topics that are not things that you generally just kind of sit around and talk about. I really found that to be true when The Hate U Give came out.
Yes, yes.
I found that to be an excellent book to get people to talk about things that are difficult. And
Yes.
it was at a pretty difficult time. Like it was very timely, and it got people together to kind of open up. Like, have you read this book? It's a very easy, it's a good on-ramp to a difficult conversation.
It really is, yeah. Police violence, race-based violence is, yeah, a really important topic.
Yeah. So it was, I get that. And I can see where people can be out and they'll be like, oh, you're reading it? Well, I'm reading it
Yes,
as well. And
yeah.
it might open up a conversation between people who would not normally have a conversation.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, I like that. What other kinds of events around it do you do?
So we try to bring the author to talk about the book, and
Okay.
Charlotte McConaghy lives in Australia.
Oh, wow.
So that's a little cost prohibitive
Yes.
and inconvenient. So she will do a live Zoom event that people can watch at home. And we'll record it so people can watch it later if they're not available on that particular night. It's going to be the last Tuesday in September is when we'll have that. But we do, we'll have a film at Ragtag. We will have a panel discussion where we have 4 or 5 experts who will talk about the book based on their area of expertise. And David Lyle, who's a former radio personality here in town, he moderates that, and he's so good. And hearing folks, we might have an environmentalist, we might have a bird specialist. Anyway, it just peels the book like an onion, and that's a great discussion. We do a writing contest. We'll have an art exhibit at Orr Street. People can submit art pieces on the theme of flight. So we've got all kinds of things.
Wow. And you said these events take place in the month
Always
of...
in September.
Always in September. Okay. And so for people who want to find out more about it, then they can go to dbrl.org/one-read.
That's it.
There's a dash in between one and read for anybody who's listening and not watching. So make sure you check out the library's website to check out the One Read. Lauren, this was so informative and so much fun. And now we got to pick up Migration so I can read it.
Yes, you do. Thanks for having me. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, we'll see you at the library.
You will. You will indeed.